A virgin man had never known a woman's touch until the Apache girl softly asked to ride with him. Marcus stared out of the rover's windshield, watching the endless expanse of rust-colored canyons stretch before him. The planet, called Urindor, was still young to human settlers. Its air was breathable, but strange winds sometimes carried faint scents of minerals he could not name. Towering cliffs and jagged rock formations rose like the skeletons of ancient beasts, and small, flickering lights, plants that glowed faintly in the alien twilight, dotted the landscape. Marcus loved it. He loved it because he had nowhere else to go. Marcus had always been alone. In the small colony on Urindor, people worked, laughed, and argued around him, but he had never belonged to any of it. His colleagues called him quiet, sometimes awkward. Some joked that he was like a ghost, quietly fixing things and disappearing before anyone could notice him. He had no family here, and friends were strangers with names he sometimes forgot. That suited him. The rover hummed softly beneath him, its wheels crunching over the reddish dust. Marcus ran diagnostics on its energy core. Everything was fine. Just as he finished checking the navigation system, a soft sound reached him, almost like a whisper on the wind. He frowned. No one should be out here this far. "Hello," he called cautiously, his voice breaking the eerie silence. The wind shifted, carrying a faint, melodic laugh. Then he saw her, a girl moving lightly across the rocky surface. She was small, with dark, shining hair tied back, her clothing simple but strong. Her skin carried the sun's warmth, and her eyes, his heart skipped. They were curious, alive, and fearless. Marcus blinked. He was not used to seeing anyone here, let alone a stranger. "Can I ride with you?" the girl asked softly, stepping closer to the rover. Marcus' hands froze on the controls. He wanted to say no, wanted to keep his distance, but something about the girl made him pause. Her voice was calm, gentle, full of trust. He found himself nodding. Yes," he said finally, voice tight. "Climb on." She smiled, the kind of smile that made the canyon around them feel warmer. She climbed onto the rover, settling behind him. "Thank you," she said, her hands brushing the metal gently as she adjusted herself. "The wind can be strong here." Marcus focused on driving, but he felt her presence like a quiet heartbeat behind him. He had never had someone so close. It was strange, but not uncomfortable. "What's your name?" he asked after a moment, trying to keep his voice steady. "Lena," she replied. "And you?" "Marcus," he said. The rover bounced over a rock, and he felt her lean slightly to steady herself. Marcus felt a strange warmth, connection perhaps, though he did not know what to call it. Lena laughed softly. "You don't speak much, do you, Marcus?" I like to focus," he admitted, almost embarrassed. "And I'm not good with people." She tilted her head. "You don't need to be good with people. You just need to notice them." Marcus looked at her, puzzled. She had the kind of confidence that was unusual for someone so young. But there was no arrogance, only certainty. The rover hummed as it climbed higher along a narrow ridge. Below them, the canyon stretched wide, a patchwork of jagged cliffs and glittering plant life. Marcus had driven this path many times, but with Lena behind him, it looked different, alive. "Do you live near the colony?" he asked. "No," she said, eyes scanning the horizon. "My people roam. We live with the land, not in the walls humans build." Marcus frowned, curious. "Your people?" Lena nodded. "We are humans too, but different. Some call us nomads. We know the old ways, the ways before machines took everything." Marcus was silent. He had grown up surrounded by machines, rovers, energy cores, drones, and artificial light. The old ways sounded like stories from another world. "Do you like it here?" she asked suddenly, turning her gaze to him. I like quiet," he said honestly. "The colony is too loud sometimes, too much talking, too many rules." Lena smiled. "Quiet can be good, it lets you see things others miss." He glanced at her. Somehow she seemed to see everything. She noticed the small glimmers of alien plants, the faint cracks in the rocks, even the way the wind shifted. Marcus had never felt anyone notice him like that before. It was nice. They rode in silence for a while. Marcus' mind wandered, and he realized that with Lena behind him, the rover didn't feel like a machine anymore. It was a companion, and maybe he was beginning to feel like a companion too. Suddenly, a flash of movement caught his eye. A small herd of creatures, shaped like deer but taller and more slender, with translucent skin showing their faintly glowing bones, darted across the canyon floor. Marcus braked the rover, watching them. "Beautiful," Lena whispered. Marcus nodded, speechless. He had seen alien life before, but these creatures were different. They moved like wind, fluid and graceful. For a moment, Marcus forgot everything else, the colony, the machines, even his loneliness. "Do you see that?" he asked softly. Lena leaned forward slightly. "I do." "Isn't it wonderful? The land gives life in ways we cannot always predict. That's why we respect it." Marcus felt a pang of longing, respect, wonder, connection, things he had read about but never truly felt until now. As the rover moved again, Marcus noticed how naturally Lena fit into this world. She didn't just survive, she understood it. And Marcus, he realized he had been surviving but never really understanding. Hours passed. The sun dipped low, casting golden shadows across the canyon walls. Marcus drove carefully, but he couldn't stop stealing glances at Lena. She hummed softly to herself, eyes half closed, leaning into the rhythm of the rover. He wondered if she could sense his thoughts, or if he simply wanted her to. Eventually, they reached a small plateau, a perfect spot to rest. Marcus killed the rover's engine. Silence fell, broken only by the distant rush of wind through the canyon. "Thank you for letting me ride with you," Lena said finally. "Not everyone would." Marcus felt his face grow warm. It was fine," he muttered. "I liked it." She smiled, a quiet, knowing smile. "I can tell." They sat for a moment, watching the alien sky shift to twilight. Stars began to appear, bright and unfamiliar. Marcus pointed to a cluster. "That one, it's not on the maps," he said. Lena tilted her head, her eyes reflecting starlight. "Nothing here is on your maps yet. You have to look with your own eyes." Marcus nodded slowly, thinking about the long months he had spent in the colony, fixing machines, following schedules, never noticing the beauty around him. Now, sitting beside Lena, he realized he had been blind. "Tomorrow," she said softly, "I can show you more of the canyon. Places most humans never see." Marcus swallowed. I'd like that." She smiled, reaching forward briefly to touch his arm. The contact was light, respectful, but it made his heart skip, not in fear but in surprise, in connection, in the strange joy of being seen. As night fully settled over Urindor, Marcus felt a warmth he had never known. The rover, the canyon, the distant stars, all of it seemed alive, and for the first time he felt alive too. "Good night, Marcus," Lena whispered. "Good night," he replied, feeling that this was not just a goodbye but a beginning. And for the first time in his life, Marcus realized that the universe might be vast and lonely, but it could also be full of wonder, companionship, and the quiet magic of being truly seen. He closed his eyes under the alien stars, and for the first time he dreamed, not of machines or tasks or schedules, but of journeys, friendships, and the unspoken connections that made life extraordinary. Morning came quietly over Urindor, painting the canyon walls with soft shades of gold and rose. Marcus woke in the rover, still feeling the warmth of last night's quiet connection. Lena was already awake, sitting outside, her legs dangling over the edge of the plateau. She looked like part of the canyon itself, calm, grounded, and in harmony with the wind that stirred her hair. "Morning," Marcus called softly, careful not to startle her. Lena turned and smiled, her eyes reflecting the early light. "Good morning, Marcus. Sleep well." I did," he said honestly. "Thank you," she nodded, then pointed to the canyon below. "Today I want to show you something." Marcus followed her gaze and saw a winding path that descended into a hidden valley. It was not on any of the colony's maps. He hesitated. "Is it safe?" Lena laughed softly. Safe enough. If you pay attention, the canyon will guide you. Marcus took a deep breath. He had spent most of his life surrounded by machines, schedules, and rules. Adventure, the real kind, was not something he was used to. Yet something about Lena's calm confidence made him trust her. He started the rover and she climbed on behind him. As they descended, she pointed out small signs along the way. "See that," she said, gesturing to a faint trail of crushed grass-like plants. "Small creatures pass here every day. They know the safest paths." Marcus leaned closer, fascinated. He had seen alien life before, but Lena's eyes noticed details he had always overlooked. "How do you know all this?" he asked. "My people live with the land, not against it," she explained. "We listen to it. We learn from it. It teaches us if we are willing to watch." Marcus nodded slowly, listening, learning. He realized that he had spent his life hearing but rarely listening. The valley opened before them, a small paradise tucked between jagged cliffs. Strange plants glowed faintly in the morning light, and a clear stream ran through the center, sparkling with tiny, luminescent fish. Marcus felt a strange awe, something he had only read about in old colony texts. Lena stopped the rover near the stream and stepped off. "Come," she said, her voice gentle. "Walk with me." Marcus followed, feeling clumsy in his long-legged boots. Every step seemed louder than it should, but Lena did not rush him. She moved like a shadow, light and sure, while he stumbled, eyes wide with wonder. They reached the stream, and Lena knelt to cup the water in her hands. She drank carefully, then offered him a taste. Marcus hesitated. Water from a wild stream was not something he usually trusted, but something in her calm made him try. The water was crisp, cool, and alive. "See," she said, smiling. "The world provides if we respect it." Marcus felt a thrill of understanding. Machines could build shelters, power lights, and clean water, but they could not teach patience, wonder, or respect. That was something humans, in all their curiosity, had learned from nature itself. They spent hours exploring the valley. Lena showed him how to identify plants that were safe to touch, how to read tracks left by small alien creatures, and how the wind's direction could warn of incoming storms. Marcus tried to keep up, absorbing every lesson. "You have a good mind," Lena said at one point, noticing how quickly he learned. "But you've spent too long inside machines. Don't be afraid to trust yourself." Marcus felt a strange warmth at her words. Trust himself. He had always relied on rules, schedules, and instructions. But Lena made him feel that he could do more, be more, if only he believed. As the sun climbed, they reached a rocky outcrop overlooking the valley. Below, the stream twisted like silver through green, alien grass. Strange birds with translucent wings flitted above the water, calling to each other in a melody that Marcus could not understand. "Look," Lena whispered. "Life finds a way everywhere, even here." Marcus felt a lump in his throat. Machines could not create this. Maps could not show it. Only humans, with their curiosity and courage, could truly notice it. And Lena, she was human in a way that was extraordinary, in a way he had never seen before. He wanted to say something, but the words caught in his throat. Instead, he just watched, letting the moment sink in. After a while, they sat on the outcrop, sharing a simple meal of dried fruits and water. Lena spoke of her people, how they roamed valleys like this, living with the land, teaching each other respect, courage, and curiosity. Marcus listened, fascinated. He had always thought life was about work, schedules, and survival. Now he realized there was more, much more. "You've never been outside the colony much, have you?" Lena asked gently. Marcus shook his head. "No, I was too careful. Too scared of making mistakes," she smiled. "Mistakes teach us more than success ever could. The land, the world, they forgive those who learn." Marcus felt a warmth in his chest. He wanted to be brave, not for anyone else but for himself. For the first time, he wanted to step beyond the walls he had built around his life. The day passed with small discoveries. A hidden grove of glowing flowers, a shallow cave filled with crystals, and a flock of alien birds that danced in the wind. Marcus felt alive in a way he had never known. He laughed more than he had in years, and Lena's laughter joined his, echoing through the valley. As the afternoon sun began to fade, they climbed back to the rover. Marcus started the engine, but this time it felt different. The machine was not just a tool. It was a bridge to discovery, a way to move through a world full of wonder. And with Lena beside him, he felt he could face anything. On the way back to the plateau, a sudden wind swept through the canyon. The rover rocked slightly and Marcus instinctively braced himself. Lena leaned forward, her hand brushing his shoulder. Not a touch of fear, but a touch of connection. Marcus felt a warmth he could not name. "See," she said softly, "you are stronger than you think. You just need to trust yourself." Marcus nodded, feeling something shift inside him. He had been timid, careful, and distant, but with her he felt capable, alive, and human in a way he had never understood before. By the time they returned to the plateau, the sun was low, casting long shadows across the canyon. Marcus shut off the rover and leaned back, exhausted but exhilarated. Lena settled beside him, looking out over the valley below. "You did well today," she said quietly. I couldn't have done it without you," Marcus admitted. She smiled, the kind of smile that did not demand anything in return. "No one does anything alone. Not really. We all help each other." Marcus watched her, feeling the truth of her words in every fiber of his being. He had spent his life alone, believing he needed only machines to survive. Now he realized that connection, trust, and shared experiences were just as vital as any tool or device. Night fell again, and the first stars appeared, twinkling like distant lanterns in the sky. Marcus and Lena sat in comfortable silence, watching the heavens. "Tomorrow," she said softly, "I will show you a place few humans ever see, a place where the land and the stars meet." Marcus felt a thrill of anticipation. For the first time, he wanted tomorrow to come, not for duty or necessity, but for discovery and companionship. As he lay down in the rover that night, Marcus thought about the day. He had learned, laughed, and seen wonders he had never imagined. But more importantly, he had felt connection. He had felt life, not just existence, but the deep, quiet joy of being alive. And he knew that this was only the beginning. Urindor was a world full of mysteries, waiting to be discovered. And with Lena beside him, Marcus felt ready to explore every one of them. For the first time in his life, he felt that he was not alone. And that thought, simple as it was, filled him with hope, courage, and the strange, exhilarating feeling of being fully human. The morning sun rose over Urindor in soft shades of amber and gold. Marcus stretched, feeling the soreness in his muscles from yesterday's long exploration, yet his mind was buzzing with excitement. Today, Lena had promised to show him a place few humans ever saw, a hidden canyon where the cliffs touched the sky, and the stars seemed close enough to touch. Marcus climbed out of the rover, adjusting his gear, and found Lena already waiting. She stood at the edge of the plateau, her dark hair catching the sunlight, her eyes reflecting the wonder of the land. "Are you ready?" she asked, a faint smile playing on her lips. Marcus nodded, a mix of nervousness and anticipation swirling inside him. "Yes, I think so." Lena motioned him to follow, and they began their descent along a narrow path carved into the canyon wall. The trail was steep and winding, but Lena moved with an easy grace, each step confident and deliberate. Marcus followed as best as he could, his legs trembling slightly from both effort and fear of slipping. "Don't worry," Lena said, noticing his hesitation. "The land supports those who respect it. Trust it, and it will guide you." Marcus took a deep breath and tried to focus, remembering how she had guided him yesterday. Step by step, he moved forward, feeling the ground beneath him, noticing the faint roots and rocks that gave him balance. As they descended, strange sounds echoed through the canyon, soft calls of alien birds, the rustle of plants in the wind, and the distant trickle of water. Marcus had never felt so aware of his surroundings. Every sight, sound, and smell seemed sharper, richer, and more alive than anything in the colony. They reached a narrow bridge of natural stone stretching over a deep chasm. Below, a sparkling river wound through the valley, reflecting the morning light like a ribbon of silver. Marcus hesitated, gripping the edge of the bridge. Lena noticed immediately. "It's safe," she said softly. "Just follow my steps." Marcus took a deep breath, trying to steady his racing heart. One careful step at a time, he followed her across the bridge. The gap below seemed endless, but he focused on her steady presence. When they reached the other side, he exhaled, a smile breaking across his face. "You did it," Lena said, her voice full of quiet pride. "See, you are braver than you think." Marcus felt a strange warmth at her words. Bravery had always seemed like something other people had, heroes in stories or leaders in the colony. He had never thought of himself as brave. But now, with Lena by his side, he realized courage could be quiet, steady, and patient. They continued through the canyon, the walls narrowing and rising higher around them. Strange plants grew from cracks in the rocks, their soft glow lighting their path. Marcus marveled at the way life thrived even in this remote, hidden place. "Why do you show me all this?" he asked after a while, curiosity edging into his voice. Lena glanced at him, her expression thoughtful. "Because I can see something in you. You are cautious, yes. Careful, yes. But you also notice things others miss. You have the mind to understand the world and the heart to care for it. That is rare." Marcus felt his chest tighten. Rare. He had always felt ordinary, invisible, and unimportant, but her words made him feel recognized, seen, and valued. As they rounded a bend, they came across a grove of tall, crystalline plants. Their surfaces reflected light like tiny mirrors, casting colorful patterns on the canyon walls. Marcus reached out to touch one, feeling the smooth, cold surface beneath his fingertips. "Careful," Lena warned gently. "These plants are fragile. They show their beauty when respected, but break easily when mishandled." Marcus nodded, holding his hand above the plant as if memorizing its texture. He realized that this was not just about exploring or seeing beauty. It was about learning respect. Humans could create machines, build cities, and conquer challenges, but only by observing and respecting the world around them could they truly understand it. They pressed on, following a small path that led to a hidden waterfall cascading into a clear pool. The water sparkled like diamonds, and tiny creatures with translucent wings hovered above the surface. Marcus knelt beside the pool, cupping the cool water in his hands. This is amazing," he whispered. "I never imagined anything like this." Lena smiled, kneeling beside him. "The world has wonders if you look for them. Machines and maps cannot show everything. Sometimes you must step outside what is known to see what is truly alive." Marcus nodded slowly, letting her words sink in. He realized that for all his technical skill and knowledge, he had missed the beauty of observation, patience, and understanding. Suddenly, the sky darkened. Clouds moved quickly, unusual even for Urindor, and the wind picked up, rustling the crystalline plants. Marcus tensed, feeling the first hint of fear creeping in. "Storm," Lena said calmly, though her eyes scanned the sky. "We need to find shelter." Marcus looked around nervously. "Where?" "There's nowhere nearby." Lena pointed to a small cave hidden behind the waterfall. "There, quick!" They ran together, water splashing around their feet as the first drops fell. Marcus felt the thrill of fear mixed with excitement. His muscles burned, but he pushed forward, guided by Lena's calm confidence. When they finally reached the cave, they were soaked but safe. Lena lit a small lamp, its soft glow reflecting off the damp walls. Marcus shivered, but not from the cold. He felt alive in a way he had never experienced. "You did well," Lena said again, her voice warm. "Storms test courage, patience, and focus. And you kept moving. That is bravery." Marcus felt a strange pride. It was not the pride of achievement, but the quiet satisfaction of facing fear and not letting it control him. He realized that courage was not about strength alone. It was about trust, focus, and persistence. As they rested in the cave, Lena told him stories of her people, the nomads who roamed hidden valleys, learning from the land, the stars, and each other. Marcus listened, captivated. He realized that human ingenuity was not just about machines or technology. It was also about empathy, observation, and the ability to adapt and care. "You see," Lena said, pointing to the small creatures peeking from the cave walls, "life exists everywhere. And humans are special because we notice, we adapt, and we connect. That is our strength." Marcus nodded, understanding more than he had in years of working with machines. He felt a quiet sense of awe. Humans were not just survivors, they were learners, explorers, and caretakers. And with Lena, he was beginning to understand what that truly meant. The storm passed as suddenly as it had begun. Light streamed through the cave entrance, illuminating the glistening walls. Marcus stood, stretching his wet clothes, feeling invigorated. "Ready to continue?" Lena asked, smiling. Marcus nodded. "Yes, let's see the place you promised me." They left the cave, stepping into the sparkling canyon bathed in post-storm light. The air was fresh and crisp, carrying the scent of wet plants and minerals. Marcus felt renewed, like the storm had washed away not just the dust but also his doubts and fears. Lena led him to a narrow ledge that overlooked the canyon's edge. Below them, the valley stretched endlessly, bathed in golden light. Above, the sky seemed impossibly close, painted with streaks of clouds that glowed like fire. Marcus felt a shiver of awe. "This is it," Lena whispered. "A place where land and sky meet." Marcus gazed out, speechless. For the first time, he truly understood the meaning of wonder. This was not just beauty, it was life, resilience, and the quiet power of nature. And standing beside him was Lena, showing him that humans could see, understand, and connect in ways no machine ever could. He turned to her, feeling something he could not name, a mix of gratitude, admiration, and something deeper. She met his gaze, her eyes calm and full of understanding. He realized that human connection, the trust and companionship they shared, was as extraordinary as the canyon below. As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the cliffs, Marcus felt a quiet determination. He would not return to his old, cautious life. He had tasted courage, wonder, and companionship, and he wanted more. More learning, more exploration, more connection. Lena smiled as she watched him, sensing his resolve. "Tomorrow," she said softly, "we will explore the hidden paths of the canyon. There are places even my people rarely visit. Are you ready?" Marcus felt a thrill of excitement. "Yes, I'm ready." For the first time in his life, he felt fully alive, not just existing, but truly living, exploring, and connecting. The canyon, the storm, the creatures, and Lena had all shown him a new way to see the world, and he knew that his journey had only just begun. As night fell over the canyon, Marcus lay in the rover, listening to the wind whispering through the cliffs. He thought of the day, the storm, the lessons, the beauty, and felt a deep sense of peace. Humans were capable of amazing things, he realized. Not just because of technology, but because of their curiosity, courage, and ability to connect. And he would carry that lesson with him, wherever the canyon and life took him next. The morning air was crisp, carrying the faint scent of minerals and wet plants from yesterday's storm. Marcus woke to the soft light of dawn spilling into the rover, the canyon walls glowing in warm hues of orange and pink. He stretched, feeling both sore from yesterday's journey and excited for the day ahead. Lena was already awake, standing near the edge of the plateau, her eyes scanning the horizon. "Good morning," she called softly. "Good morning," Marcus replied, climbing out of the rover. The sun was still low, casting long shadows across the canyon floor. The world felt alive in a way it had never before. Every rock, plant, and creature seemed to hold a story. "Today," Lena said, turning to him with a smile, "we explore the hidden paths of the canyon." Few humans ever see them. You will need to focus and trust yourself." Marcus nodded, a mix of nerves and excitement in his chest. He had never felt this alive before. The canyon had shown him beauty, wonder, and courage, but today promised to test his limits even more. They began their descent along a narrow, winding path that hugged the canyon wall. The trail was steep, and the rocks underfoot were slick from the storm. Marcus felt his pulse quicken with each careful step, but he focused on the lessons Lena had taught him. Watch the ground, trust the land, and move with purpose. "Look at the plants here," Lena said, kneeling to touch a cluster of glowing flora. "They thrive because they adapt. Humans must do the same. Life rewards patience and observation." Marcus watched closely, learning to notice the small details, the way the plants leaned toward the sunlight, the faint markings on the rocks showing where creatures had passed. It was a lesson not in science or machines, but in understanding the world through observation and empathy. Hours passed as they moved deeper into the hidden paths. The canyon walls rose higher, and the trail became narrower. At one point they had to squeeze through a tight passageway, the walls brushing against their shoulders. Marcus felt a twinge of fear. What if he slipped? What if he got stuck? Lena noticed his hesitation. "You are capable," she said softly. "Trust your mind, trust your hands. You know more than you think." Marcus took a deep breath, feeling her words sink in. He focused on the rocks beneath his feet, feeling for stable holds, and carefully moved through the passage. When he emerged on the other side, relief washed over him. He had done it. He had trusted himself and he had succeeded. "See," Lena said, smiling. "You are stronger than you imagine." Marcus smiled, feeling a quiet pride. It was not a pride of accomplishment alone, but of growth, of learning to trust himself and the world around him. As they continued, the canyon opened into a breathtaking hidden valley. A small river wound through it, reflecting the sunlight like liquid silver. Strange, delicate plants swayed in the breeze, and tiny creatures with translucent wings darted above the water. Marcus marveled at the scene. "This place," he whispered. "It's incredible," Lena nodded. "Few humans ever find it. You must move carefully. The land is alive and it watches those who enter it." They followed the river, discovering small wonders along the way, pools of glowing water, rock formations that resembled sculptures, and plants that seemed to hum softly in the wind. Marcus felt a deep sense of connection to the world around him. Machines could not create this beauty. Only life, observation, and care could reveal it. Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled slightly. Marcus froze, unsure of what was happening. Lena's eyes widened slightly, and she motioned for him to stay calm. A small section of the riverbank had partially collapsed, blocking the path. Water rushed past rapidly, and the smooth rocks made it slippery and dangerous. Marcus felt a pang of fear. How would they cross? Lena assessed the situation carefully. "We need to find another way," she said. "The path is fragile, but there is a rock formation we can use to climb across. It will require focus and balance." Marcus swallowed hard. He had never been in a situation like this, and the idea of slipping into the river made his heart race. But he trusted Lena, and he trusted the lessons she had taught him. "Step carefully," she instructed, pointing to a series of rocks jutting from the river. "Use your hands and move slowly, one step at a time." Marcus nodded, taking a deep breath. He placed his foot on the first rock, feeling it firm beneath him. Slowly he moved forward, his hands brushing against the rock wall for support. His heart pounded, but he focused, remembering Lena's advice. "Trust the land, trust yourself." Step by step he made it across, each movement deliberate and careful. When he reached the other side, he exhaled, relief and pride washing over him. He had faced fear, stayed calm, and succeeded. Lena crossed behind him, smiling. "You did well, Marcus. That is courage. Not the kind of courage shown in stories or battles, but the quiet, steady kind. The kind that comes from trust and focus." Marcus felt a warmth in his chest. Courage did not have to be loud or heroic. It could be patient, thoughtful, and determined, and he had discovered that courage today. They continued along the valley, discovering more hidden wonders. Marcus learned to notice small details, the way the river carved patterns in the rocks, how the plants leaned towards sunlight, and how tiny creatures interacted with one another. He realized that humans' greatest strength was not just intelligence or technology, but curiosity, empathy, and the ability to observe and understand the world. At one point, they came across a small cave tucked into the canyon wall. The entrance was low, almost hidden by vines and moss. Lena motioned for him to follow her inside. The cave opened into a chamber filled with glowing crystals. Light from the entrance reflected off the crystals, casting shimmering patterns on the walls. Marcus felt awe fill him. He had seen machines create light and beauty, but nothing like this, natural, fragile, and extraordinary. Humans have always been explorers, Lena said softly. We seek understanding, we learn, and we connect. Machines can help, but they cannot replace curiosity and courage. Marcus nodded, absorbing her words. He realized that his life in the colony, surrounded by machines and schedules, had been limited. The world was far bigger and richer than he had imagined, and humans had the power to notice, learn, and grow in ways no machine could. They spent time exploring the cave, discovering small creatures that made soft, glowing trails across the crystals. Marcus learned to move carefully, to respect the delicate ecosystem, and to appreciate the subtle beauty around him. As the sun began to set, casting warm light through the cave entrance, Lena led him back to the valley floor. Marcus felt a quiet sense of accomplishment, not just for overcoming obstacles, but for the lessons he had learned. He had faced fear, discovered beauty, and deepened his understanding of the world. They climbed back to the plateau, the canyon bathed in the soft glow of twilight. Marcus felt exhilarated and alive. He had learned courage, patience, and respect. He had discovered the quiet power of human observation and empathy. Lena sat beside him, looking out over the valley. "You have grown," she said gently, "not just in skill, but in understanding. That is what makes humans remarkable. We notice, we adapt, we connect." Marcus felt a deep sense of gratitude. For the first time, he truly understood what it meant to be human, not just alive, but aware, compassionate, and courageous. As night fell over Urindor, stars began to twinkle in the sky. Marcus lay beside the rover, looking up, feeling small yet connected to the vast universe. He thought about the canyon, the river, the crystals, and Lena, and felt a profound sense of wonder. Humans were capable of extraordinary things. Not because of machines or technology, but because of curiosity, courage, and the ability to connect with the world and each other. Marcus had learned this lesson firsthand, and he knew it would guide him for the rest of his life. Lena reached over and touched his arm lightly. "Tomorrow," she said softly, "we will explore the stars above the canyon. There are places even few humans have imagined. Are you ready?" Marcus smiled, feeling a thrill of anticipation. "Yes, I'm ready." For the first time, he felt fully alive, not just surviving, but truly living, exploring, and connecting. The canyon had taught him lessons no machine ever could, and with Lena by his side, he knew that his journey of discovery had only just begun. And as the wind whispered through the canyon, carrying the faint scent of minerals and plants, Marcus realized that courage, connection, and curiosity were the greatest forces in the universe, and that humans, with their hearts and minds, were capable of wielding them like no other species. Morning dawned over Urindor like a promise. The sky was painted in soft pinks and oranges, and the canyon walls glimmered with the last traces of dew. Marcus woke feeling a lightness he had never known, a mix of anticipation and calm. Today, Lena had promised to show him something extraordinary, the hidden peaks where the canyon seemed to touch the stars. He stepped outside the rover and found Lena already standing on the plateau, her eyes scanning the horizon. The The sunlight caught her hair, making it shine like a dark river flowing in the wind. She looked at him and smiled. "Good morning," she said softly. "Good morning," Marcus replied, smiling back. He felt excitement stirring inside him, the kind of thrill that had nothing to do with machines or schedules but with discovery and possibility. Lena gestured to the path ahead. "We have a long climb today. You will need focus, courage, and trust. Are you ready?" Marcus nodded. "Yes, I'm ready." They set off, following a narrow trail that twisted along the canyon walls. Marcus felt stronger now, more confident. Each step he took was careful, deliberate, and guided by the lessons Lena had taught him. Observe, respect, adapt, and trust yourself. As they climbed, the canyon opened into a series of hidden terraces, each filled with wonders. Strange plants glowed softly in the morning light, and tiny creatures with translucent wings flitted around them. Marcus noticed the patterns in the rocks, the way the wind shifted, and how life adapted to the rugged terrain. "This place," he whispered, awe in his voice. "It feels alive." Lena nodded. "It is. Everything here is alive, and humans are alive in a similar way. We notice, we learn, we connect. That is our strength." Marcus felt a warmth in his chest. He had spent his life inside the colony, surrounded by machines and rules, thinking that survival and work were all that mattered. Now he realized that curiosity, courage, and connection were just as essential. They reached a narrow ledge overlooking the deepest part of the canyon. The view was breathtaking. Below, the river snaked through the valley, reflecting the sunlight like a ribbon of silver. Strange creatures moved along the banks, delicate and graceful, unaware of the humans above. "Look closely," Lena whispered. "Do you see how everything moves together? Life in all its forms depends on balance and awareness." Marcus watched, fascinated. He saw patterns he had never noticed before, the creatures' paths, the way plants leaned toward sunlight, the gentle flow of water shaping the land. He realized that humans, with their curiosity and ingenuity, could understand, appreciate, and even protect this delicate balance. As they continued their climb, the trail grew steeper, more challenging. Loose rocks shifted underfoot, and the wind gusted sharply, threatening to push them off balance. Marcus felt a flicker of fear, but he remembered Lena's lessons. Trust yourself, observe carefully, and move with purpose. Step by step, they climbed higher, each movement deliberate. Marcus felt his confidence grow. He was no longer the cautious, solitary man who had arrived at the canyon weeks ago. He was an explorer, alive to the world around him, capable of observation, courage, and connection. Finally, they reached the hidden peaks. The view was unlike anything Marcus had ever imagined. The canyon stretched endlessly below, bathed in golden light, while above the sky seemed impossibly close, dotted with sparkling stars even in the morning haze. "It's beautiful," Marcus whispered, overwhelmed by the sight. Lena smiled, standing beside him. "Few humans ever reach this place. You see, Marcus, humans are remarkable not because of machines or power, but because we notice, we learn, and we connect. You have done all three." Marcus felt a surge of pride and joy. He had faced fear, learned from the land, and discovered companionship. He realized that this journey was not just about exploring the canyon, but about discovering himself and the human potential within him. They sat together on the edge of the peak, watching the canyon below and the stars above. Marcus felt a deep sense of peace. He had learned lessons no machine could teach: courage, empathy, observation, and the quiet joy of connection. Lena turned to him, her eyes calm and warm. "Do you understand now? Humans are special, not because we conquer, but because we care, learn, and connect. That is our true power." Marcus nodded slowly. He understood. For the first time, he felt fully human, not just alive, but aware, compassionate, and capable of growth. As they rested, Lena shared more stories of her people, nomads who roamed hidden valleys, learning from the land, the stars, and each other. Marcus listened, fascinated. He realized that humans, Ingenuity was not only about building machines or cities, but about understanding life, respecting it, and finding harmony with it. The afternoon passed in quiet exploration. Marcus and Lena discovered small hidden groves, delicate flowers, and pools of crystal-clear water. Each discovery filled Marcus with wonder and a sense of connection to the universe. He realized that humans had the capacity to notice and appreciate beauty in ways no machine ever could. As the sun began to set, painting the canyon in shades of gold and crimson, Marcus felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had come to Erendor as a quiet, solitary man, unsure of his place in the world. Now he was alive in every sense, aware, curious, brave, and connected. Lena stood beside him, her silhouette glowing in the sunset. "Tomorrow," she said softly, "we will explore even further. There are places in this canyon that even my people rarely visit. Are you ready?" Marcus smiled, a warmth spreading through him. "Yes, I'm ready." Night fell over the canyon and the first stars appeared, twinkling like distant lanterns. Marcus lay in the rover, reflecting on his journey. He thought about the lessons he had learned, the importance of observation, courage, empathy, and connection. He felt gratitude for Lena, for the canyon, and for the opportunity to discover the extraordinary within himself. As he drifted to sleep, he realized that the universe was vast and full of mysteries, but humans had the ability to explore, understand, and connect in ways no other species could. He had discovered not just the wonders of Erendor, but the true potential of humanity. The next morning, Marcus awoke with renewed determination. He knew that life was not just about surviving or completing tasks, it was about curiosity, learning, and connection. And with Lena beside him, he felt ready to embrace every challenge, every discovery, and every moment of wonder. They set off together once more, climbing higher into the hidden paths of the canyon. Marcus felt alive in a way he had never imagined. He was no longer the cautious, solitary man who had arrived weeks ago. He was a human capable of courage, curiosity, and connection, a true explorer of both the world and himself. As they reached a hidden terrace, the stars above began to shine even more brightly, casting a gentle glow on the canyon below. Marcus and Lena stood side by side, taking in the beauty around them. He felt a profound sense of peace, knowing that humans had the capacity to notice, learn, and connect with the world in ways that were extraordinary. Lena placed a hand lightly on his shoulder, a gesture of companionship and trust. Marcus smiled, feeling the warmth of human connection like a fire in his chest. He realized that the greatest discoveries were not just in the land, the stars, or the creatures, but in the connections humans made, with each other and with the world itself. As night deepened, Marcus and Lena sat quietly, watching the stars and listening to the canyon's soft whispers. The journey had transformed him. He had faced fear, discovered beauty, learned patience, and embraced the quiet power of human ingenuity and connection. He knew that life would continue to bring challenges, wonders, and lessons. But now he was ready, fully alive, fully human, and fully aware of the extraordinary potential within himself and his species. And as the wind stirred through the canyon, carrying the faint scent of minerals and glowing plants, Marcus realized that this journey was only the beginning. The universe was vast, full of mysteries waiting to be discovered, and humans had the ability to explore, understand, and connect like no other. With Lena beside him, Marcus felt a quiet joy, a deep courage, and an unwavering connection to the canyon, to life, and to the remarkable potential of humanity. For the first time in his life, Marcus knew what it truly meant to be alive.